He was once a Prime Minister of Congo. Why was he killed? This is the story of Patrice Lumumba. Patrice Lumumba was born July 2nd, 1925, on Alua, Belgian Congo, now Democratic Republic of the Congo. Lumumba went to work in Kindu port, where he became active in the club of the Volu's Western educated Africans. He began to write essays and poems for Congolese journals. He also applied for and received full Belgian citizenship. Lumumba next moved to Kinshasa to become a postal clerk and went on to become an accountant in the post office in Kisangani. There he continued to contribute to the Congolese press. In 1955, Lumumba became regional president of a purely Congolese trade union of government employees that was not affiliated. He also became active in the Belgian Liberal Party in the Congo. Lumumba was invited with others on a study tour of Belgium under the auspices of the Minister of Colonies. On his return, he was arrested on a charge of embezzlement from the post office. He was convicted and condemned 1 year later. He was sentenced to 12 months imprisonment and a fine. When Lumumba got out of prison, he grew even more active in politics. In October 1958, he and other Congolese leaders launched the Congolese National Movement, the first nationwide Congolese political party. In 1959, the Belgian government announced a program intended to lead to independence for the Congo, starting with local elections in December 1959. The nationalists regarded this program as a scheme to install puppets before independence and announced a boycott of the elections. The Belgian authorities responded with repression. In 1959, October 30th, there was a clash in Stanleyville that resulted in 30 deaths. Lumumba was imprisoned on a charge of inciting to riot. The Congolese National Movement decided to shift tactics, entered the elections, and won a sweeping victory in Stanleyville, 90% of the votes. In January 1960, the Belgian government convened a round-table conference in Brussels of all Congolese parties to discuss political change. But the Congolese National Movement refused to participate without Lumumba. Lumumba was released from prison and flown to Brussels. The conference agreed on a date for independence, June 30, with national elections in May. Almost immediately after the June 30th independence date, Moise Tshombe, President State of Katanga, proclaimed that the mineral-rich province of Katanga was seceding from the Congo. Belgium sent in troops to protect Belgian nationals in the disorder, but failed. Congo appealed to the United Nations to expel the Belgians and help them restore internal order. As Prime Minister, Lumumba did what little he could to redress the situation. His army was an uncertain instrument of power, his civilian administration untrained and untried. But the United Nations refused to help. The Belgian troops did not leave, and the Katanga secession continued. Since the United Nations forces refused to help suppress the Katangese revolt, Lumumba appealed to the Soviet Union for planes to assist in transporting his troops to Katanga. He also asked the independent African states. His moves alarmed many, particularly the Western powers, and the supporters of President Kasavaba, who pursued a moderate course in the coalition government and favored some local autonomy in the provinces. On September 5th, President Kasavaba dismissed Lumumba. In October, Lumumba had been placed under house arrest in Leopoldville. Lumumba escaped and sought to travel to Stanleyville, where his supporters had control. Unfortunately, he was caught by Mobutu's forces and arrested on December 2nd. He was transferred to a different location that they deemed to be more secure, and one that would almost certainly guarantee his death. On January 17, 1961, Lumumba and two associates, Joseph Okito and Maurice Polo, were flown to Elizabethville, now Lubumbashi, where they were delivered to the secessionist regime in Katanga and its Belgian advisors. On the flight there, they had been beaten by the soldiers escorting them, and once they landed in Katanga, they were beaten again. Later that day, Lumumba, Okito, and Polo were executed by a firing squad under Belgian command. Their bodies were thrown into shallow graves. They were later dug up under the direction of Belgian officers, hacked into pieces and dissolved in acid or burned by fire. Lumumba's tooth was kept as a trophy by his killers, and his family only got just one tooth 61 years later. The Katangan government withheld official announcement of his death until February 13th. and then claimed that Lumumba had escaped from their custody and had been discovered by villagers who killed him. Patrice Lumumba was a visionary leader who fought for Congo's independence and dreamed of a united Africa free from colonial oppression. He was a man of strong character who intended to pursue his policies regardless of the enemies he made within his country or abroad. His legacy endures as a symbol of the struggle for true sovereignty and justice in Africa.